Hi, welcome everyone to Ask Dawn and Donna. I'm Donna, and that is Dawn. So today we want to talk about death. I had a client, and I know Dawn has worked with a lot of people that have had experienced death, loss, and different things. But I had a client that lost her mother to cancer. So not only was the support that I was giving to her was her own experience about losing her own mother and death and what that meant to her in her own life and what that triggered, but also how to support someone that is going through the death process. There's all different ways to die, and sometimes it's a longer time and you kind of know. Other times, you just don't wake up in the middle of the night. So each kind of death, on the other hand, both. I can't speak to the death part since I didn't have that, but on the experience of, on the other side, I've had significant people in my life that had a heart attack and died right away. And I had other people in my life that were sick for months and months. So going through that, and as humans, that is part of our life, is that we are going to die or experience loss. And I know Dawn has just done some extensive training on becoming a death doula. And I wanted her to share some of what her wisdom she gives, not only to the people that are going through the death process, but also the loved ones that are going through it in a different way. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Miss Dawn.
That's lovely. So, wow, where do I start? I feel like death has always been my pathway. It's been revealed to me over the years. I suffered great loss at 15 years old when I survived. Only two of us in a car of 7 people survived with limited injury, but lifelong injury. And so I call myself a transition healer. With our work in the Soul Awakening Method, that every loss has an energy, be it a loss of a marriage, be it a loss of a job, be it major life transitions. So death doula-ing is very similar to a birth doula. The energy of a soul entering into a human experience is much the same as a soul exiting the human experience. So a death doula does many special, amazing things. And there's a lot of things they actually don't do. And I think there's a lot of confusion out there. I think that first and foremost, they're a resource. If they're a resource in life, in transition, and in all areas of transition. I think the beauty of our work and energy work, and all death doulas are inherently healers themselves, and that I think it's really important that we recognize death as the choice that it is. I also believe that every soul, this is hard for some people. Yeah, okay, we're going to leave that. But I believe that, yeah, all losses require, are part of our human experience here. And that they all require a level of healing and understanding. And death doulas do a lot of things at in heralding people going through death and helping those with the grieving process before, during, and after. They do these lovely things called vigils, and they create legacy projects. So, I had an amazing teacher, my death doula teacher. Her name is Teacy L. Chalmers. And her website will be posted below, is endwell.ca, and she works out of North Vancouver. And the legacy projects are like, if you're right, we talk about the idea of what a good death is. I think we have this notion, and particularly somebody like myself that worked in as a respiratory therapist for 15 years and saw some really not great deaths. That also has been a profound part of my process. And you know, we idolize the idea of a perfect death, which is like going in your sleep or with your loved one at the same time. And the truth is the perfect death is available to all of us. And that I think that if we recognize it as the energy shift and exchange that it is, if we celebrated that energy exchange of a soul leaving, like we celebrate a soul coming in, which is a birth, because I've witnessed those two firsthand in my job as a respiratory therapist. The energy is the same. It's deeply profound, and it is, it's both are singularly the most beautiful things you could ever witness.
I agree. And I always found work with clients that have experienced loss, whether it's through an accident or a natural death of a loved one, your experience with death, it shows your own personal experience with how you perceive your life and death. And Freud, and there's so many different theories that state back this, but the biggest fear that we have as humans is the fear of death. So under all the fears, under all the anxiety, under all of that is that we're going to die. And meditation is a great way to get to a place where you can be more accepting of death. You said a good death and you know, not so good death. There's a clinging, there's a fear sometimes to life that doesn't allow the process to be as smooth. But through meditation, you have all these experiences where you really start the death of the ego. And that's really what part of it is, to not to be too psychological, but when you leave the body, something leaves, whether you believe on going to heaven or hell, or that you believe in lives and karma. Everyone, like, you take a breath as that baby and that puts life in your body, then you have a life, and then the breath stops. So whatever that is not breathing anymore goes on to somewhere else, and then you're with a physical body. And that transition between the two, you know, even births can be somewhat traumatic, and, you know, they're not all smooth. Yes, and it's just not like the baby's like, yeah, I'm here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like that. No,
you know, everyone
that can be the very first trauma that needs to be healed. Yes.
Exactly. So it's a beautiful thing to be with someone that is dying, because you see the transition, and right when they do pass away, it is a beautiful moment of that transition, because there's that acceptance and surrender, really the ultimate surrender. So the more you get used to surrendering consciously, then theoretically, and since I haven't been through it
consciously,
or then
I love that.
When you know your last breath is there, then you're most likely to have a different experience. But that doesn't mean you can't have that in that moment as well. And then for the people that I'm with, that, you know, I really work with after a big significant loss, is really to kind of, you know, a lot of times people have fears and regrets and their own mortality, or they like to make stories to either prove or support or not support whatever the relationship was with that person, especially parents.
The not enoughness comes up time and again, the not enoughness. And this is the beauty of death doula-ing, is that it allows people to be more, it's like a birth doula, where a death doula really is like an angel that comes in and makes the transition for everyone's highest good better, easier. That if there's internal, every family has their conflicts, and everybody has their fears and their expectations and their own ideologies based on their experience of loss. So you know, there's an indelible footprint every time. My first loss was my grandmother at age 11. I remember telling my father, yeah, okay, I can't say that either.
Well, yes,
But
there's
like,
lots of emotion
but
for
me and my
sure comes
mother
out.
talked about, me and my mother have healed from that conversation, because I, even at 11 years old, when my grandmother passed, I wanted to see the body. I was that
Oh,
weird kid. I wanted to see the body. I needed the closure, and I felt like I didn't get to say goodbye. And my mother actually said that that was a family decision, and again, she went against what her soul told her. She would have let me do that. And so just having that conversation about the sanctity of that moment and those choices that were made for me, even though my soul wanted to physically say goodbye to my grandmother. And of course, that's not for everybody, you know,
mm-mm.
but this is the whole thing. I think we're not aware of all the options available in even what a natural death can be. And the Death Doula program, we talk about everything from cremation to what's environmentally friendly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
There's a
And
lot of stuff
it's
that happens when you
juicy.
die. You know, you
There
have a
is.
lot of, it's not like you just poof, you're gone.
And it
There's
doesn't have to be traumatizing. That's the whole point.
no,
It
but
can
I
be
know,
as beautiful as a celebration of birth.
yeah, but I know for me and my clients, you have to give yourself time and space to grieve and to be honest with
Absolutely.
relationship. To have guilt or to try to redo the relationship afterwards is not, there's no benefit to that for either side. And then also the same sort of relationship you have with whoever that significant that passed is really going to continue on afterwards. It's just up to you to reconcile that within you, because like I think we both agree on, we all have our own choices. We create our own life with our own choices, because just because someone is no longer there doesn't mean I can't heal. And you're not always going to, if you think you're going to get something else from someone else and that's going to make you whole, then you're always going to be searching for something that's never going to really resolve and fill that hole within you, especially when it comes to death.
Well,
And as
and
you talked about, there's different types of death, loss of jobs, everything. When structures change, there is a certain sort of death as well. And tonight is a full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn in this Cancer season. And we're in the midst of this pandemic. And in the US, if you're living in the States, we've had a lot of riots and also protests about what's going on about our structure, about equality and inequalities and racism and supremacy and all of these, and then our school structure, our police structure, our government structure, and
banking structures,
yes, everything has shifted,
every
and
system.
all that is going to be changing or has changed. And so as an individual, to live in that and go through that death is also a way to kind of get more in touch with your own mortality and know that change that's going to happen is positive. It's just making sure you give yourself time and space, like any death, to grieve, to feel the anger, to feel the sadness, to feel the feelings fully, so then they're fully processed, so then you don't carry it onto the future. So if we encourage, or I'm speaking for Dawn, but encourage you to
Allow
get
that.
to get in touch with your own feelings about death. And even if it feels uncomfortable to go in and look at your structures and your beliefs, what things need to die right now or change or shift in order for you to live with real freedom. And that's kind of what, and today also is July 4th in the States, and freedom. And what freedom is that? There's freedoms on all different levels, and a freedom of self, a freedom of consciousness, and really trying to figure that out for yourself, but also giving yourself a lot of time and love and compassion while you grieve any loss is really a beautiful support. And I think that's also what a death doula does. It's a physical person that helps mirror back and reiterate those things, that it's okay to grieve. It's okay to take this moment. You don't have to press on or cover up or do whatever you're feeling naturally pulled to do. Honor that and continue that. Even during this time of global change and transition, honor yourself more and look within to see how you could support yourself and then support others. Do you have any final words on anything about?
Yes. Well, and that everything is energy at the end of the day. And I really want to honor and hold that space for all those souls that have left us and all of those grieving here and now. Because again, our job is to spread the love over the fear. And I just want everybody to know how loved they are, and that we really do honor those souls that have left us. And this hasn't been easy at all. And yeah, we really, really honor and hold that space for that.
Definitely, because every soul needs to be honored for their transition. Every soul on the planet is,
and every transition.
And yeah,
we all
really
need more love. Love is always the answer.
And it's that infusing love in the hard struggles, sitting in the uncomfortableness, sitting in the pain, and sitting in the loss. That really kind of helps get you through it, to blanket it, because it's not, love is the answer is not superficial for either of us. Love is the answer,
Right.
but that's behind the reality, because you have to deal with the reality, plain and simple. If you do not deal with reality, really nothing is going to get better in your life. If you really want some change, there's always going to be a struggle. And I had a teacher once tell me, which is so true, you can't convince your ego of something if you don't believe it's true. Like if you think it's like, oh, I'll just tell myself every day everything is great, and if inside you're like, no it's not, no it's not, no it's not, it's never going to work. There is that little fake it till you make it.
I tried that for quite a while. I did a study. Yeah.
And you can't. You really have to change your perspective to feel that in order to make it true, or you're just like, it's just not real. And
this is the other thing I wanted to say, is that grieving is like all processes, like meditation, that there is no right or wrong. No. And it's very hard because other people have expectations of grief, and that people are, doing it too long or doing it wrong, and that judgment helps nobody. Yeah, the grief yourself. And the loss is personal, and however that is expressed and however that is handled is a personal, soulful journey for that one person. And we should honor that no matter what it looks like or how uncomfortable it makes us feel.
That's so true. And so with that, we just want to send all the love and blessings to everyone watching that has maybe experienced some loss recently, or maybe it's been a long time ago and you're still processing that. And we're just sending our love and support. If you have any questions about anything we said or any comments, please comment below. If you want to be updated with our videos when we release them on different topics that we discuss, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, or you can like this video. Also, you can email us at askdawnanddonna@gmail.com. Thank you, Dawn, and thank you, everyone. Bye.